Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Voice Like a Lion podcast. I'm going to be doing something different in the next few weeks, and I want to tell you guys what that is and what it looks like. And I'm just going to start it off by saying if you're seeing this and you're seeing my face, then that means that I actually posted this on my YouTube channel. So that's going to be one area that we are going into. If you followed me on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, you can see that I've been putting up some clips here recently of different podcasts I've been on. I'll actually be releasing some more here very shortly. But let's jump into it. What's coming next? Steven, why is your face on the screen? So for those of you who are just listening to this, I am actually recording this, so you can actually go see my face as I'm talking to you on YouTube if you want to. But if you're just listening to it, the reason why I'm making this episode is because I want to let you guys know where this podcast is going. So starting Thursday, so now I'm dating myself. So starting on a Thursday, we're going to be actually interviewing high-level entrepreneurs, business owners on this podcast. And we're going to be interviewing not only business owners, but also people who I want to talk to and that I think are helping the world in some kind of way, whether that's through their business or through their philanthropic adventures that they're on, I guess I could say, the different avenues of life that they're walking down, or if they have a really interesting story, I will have them on the podcast. So this is how it's going to go, at least in this immediate time frame. It's going to be very interesting. And what I mean by that is the very first one, if you're listening to this, it is released, and I'm going to date it. It's released on a Tuesday. So on a Tuesday is when this one is coming out. So that kind of gives you a hint on what I'm looking to do coming up. I'm actually going to be looking at doing a Tuesday, Thursday schedule. So where I have them released Tuesday and Thursday. And the way that is looking is I want to do these interviews and release same day. So it won't be doctored. So if you are someone who is interested in my podcast and you're interested in coming on, this is how the flow is going to go. It's going to be very conversational. If there's a topic that you want to talk about, I would love to get into that. But also be warned that I'm going to be asking you deeper questions than what your interview questions look like. And what that means is if you have interview questions that you want me to ask you, I will ask that, but off of your answer may come another question. And because this podcast isn't just about business, as you just heard, this podcast is about people and helping people. So what that looks like is that if there is someone that's on my podcast, if that's you listening and you want to be on, then if you come on, I'm not just going to celebrate your successes. I want to understand the failures, the hardships, the obstacles that you walk through to get you to that success. And you may be asking, Steven, why would I do that? Why would you do that? So the reason why I'm doing this podcast and the reason why I've been on over 40 different podcasts is for one reason and one reason only, which is to help somebody. I'm actually booked at this moment to be on a podcast with 100,000 plus people that watch. That doesn't make a big difference. And what I mean by that is, yes, I would love for that to absolutely change my business and change my life. But what the one thing that I always get on these podcasts for is hopefully through my story of walking through life, even if I have to talk about what's hurting me right now, I will talk about it. That way, somebody on the other side of the computer screen, maybe the other side of the phone screen, or maybe I'm just in your ear. I want you to have breakthrough. I want you to take something and say, hey, he's still pushing even in the midst of this hardship. He overcame something that I'm walking through right now, or he is overcoming something that I'm walking through in this moment. I want to be able to provide those details so that way you know you're not alone. So if you are interested in being on my podcast, I would absolutely love to have you. If you are a business owner who has been in business at least a year, and success doesn't really matter as long as you've been in business for at least a year and you've generated 100,000 plus. If you generated 100,000 plus in top line sales, then you have some kind of knowledge, some kind of understanding around the topic, and I would love to talk to you. If you are someone, and you're someone who you don't fall into that category, then I would still love to talk to you if you have a cool story. And what I mean by that is there's a lady who I'm going to hopefully have on the podcast very soon that she's been on a ship that hit an iceberg, and it was not the Titanic, and it almost sank. She was very fearful of it sinking. She's been in the military. She's been a very successful businesswoman. So if you are someone who has a really cool story that you want to share, you want to get out in front of people, maybe it's a really cool story about different areas of your life that you've walked through, please, I would love to at least have a conversation with you to see if you're a good fit for the podcast. Also, what it's going to look like as far as recording schedule is Tuesdays, Thursdays. I believe I mentioned that earlier, but Tuesdays, Thursdays, they're going to just release. And also what I'm going to be doing, and I'm starting with my own, and this is how I do it in business. I always do it for us first. I do it for me first before I do it for anyone else, is I'm going to be recording this and I'm going to be putting it up on the YouTube channel so it can be found. You can find it. You can interact with it. You will be able to share it, like it, all the things. And then from that point, looking forward, is I'm really excited for these. They're going to be about 30 minutes, maybe in the beginning, at least in the near future, they'll be 30 minutes. And then depending on how these conversations go and how they flow and how you guys enjoy them, then I may change that up to 45 minutes to an hour. I want to be able to dive in to these people's story. I want to be able to give my insight, my 2 cents, because I want you guys to be able to walk away with something. So that is basically the nitty gritty of where we're going. And what I'm really excited for is I already have 2 really great individuals that are booked, and one's going to be coming on this Thursday, and they specialize. The one that's on Thursday is going to be great. It's actually going to be the first time I've talked to this gentleman, and it's going to be incredible for the one sole fact that you're going to be hearing our interactions. This is going to be a first interaction. There's no pre-podcast interview that has happened with either of the next 2 individuals. That it will be raw, uncut, my first reactions, this person's first reactions to being on the podcast. So I'm really excited about these because there's nothing that is basically preconceived. Next, I'm going to ask a really, really cool friend of mine he's actually a mentor. I'll just be straight up with it. He's a mentor right now, and he is a mentor. And he did his claim to fame, one of many, is he took a company from 0 to 34 million in 9 months. And it was in the same time frame that Brittany and I took a company from 0 to $1 million in a year. So to be able to have these conversations with him, I would love to. I was on his podcast. I would love to have him on mine, just because I would absolutely love to share him with you guys. He is a jewel, super cool guy, great in faith. That's also somebody else that if you are someone who you say, hey, Stephen, I am a pastor. I'm a youth pastor. I was once in the military, and then I rebuked my entire life and became a minister. I would also love to have that conversation too. This podcast is not very niched in. It's called Voice Like a Lion. It's not called Voice Like a Lion in business. It's not called Business Lion. It is called Voice Like a Lion, and I want to be able to get the voices of people who have a great story out there. So if that sounds like you, please go and message me on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook, and I would love to have a conversation with you to see if you are a good fit for the show. I would love to have – I'm going to be doing these. So, again, 2 a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays. I'm going to be doing that from here on. I may add another one depending on how the show goes. Right now it's fluid, but I wanted to let you guys know what's coming. So this one's probably going to be a short episode, but I'd want to just be straightforward of where we're looking at. I wanted you to see my face and see me interact with you and let you know that this is going to be the style going forward. That is going to be on my YouTube channel. So YouTube channel is Stephen Pemberton. I'll make sure all this stuff is in the show notes. So anytime you have somebody on there, I'll have their notes or all of their stuff in the show notes. You'll have all my stuff in the show notes. So that way you'll be able to find them, because these are people that I want in the space. I want you guys to interact with them. It's not just for me to interact with them. I want you guys to interact with them. And then also I'm going to have all my stuff there. That way you'll be able to find it, share it, like it, whatever it looks like for you. Or if you just want to go there to be able to put your name in the hat, put your name in the ring to be on the show, I would love that as well. And again, this is exciting. You're going to be hearing from more voices than just me and my mom and Brittany and Trey. You'll be hearing from a lot of different people. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to hear about the breakthroughs and to see the breakthroughs that some of you guys have, because I want to share one quick story and then I'll wrap it up. Do not undervalue what you can get from a podcast. And this is for the listener. This is what I mean. There was a gentleman who reached out to me in, I believe, September, October of last year. And he found me on Facebook. He reached out to me, asked if we could get on a call. I got on a phone call with him, and he went on to tell me that in what we considered our greatest season of making over $1 million doing Facebook, Instagram, and Shopify, he was watching. And he began to share a story about how somebody or one of his friends had found our content that we were putting up, sent it to him and said, hey, you need to follow these people. You need to do what they're doing. And he told his friend, no, I'm not doing that. I already have this one business. Even though it's not going very well, I'm not going to do that. And what ended up happening is he watched from afar and he paid attention. He saw the success. He was able to track it, see it, and he said, I'm going to do it. And he implemented, and by the time he had called me, his business was doing over $1 million. So the reason why I share that is you may hear somebody on one of these podcast episodes and you may relate to them on such a deep level. You may say it's working for them. It's something that doesn't take a lot of money to get started, or it works for them. I already have a business that is flourishing, but if I take their tips and tricks, I may be able to take it even further. You may find that person for you who, hey, they've had a spiritual breakthrough that took them to another level. And I need more of that to be able to walk in the true faith that I want to have. Whatever that breakthrough looks like for you, you may find somebody through this podcast and start following them from a distance. That person may never know, but it may change your life. So the reason why I wanted to share that is because you never know who's watching. You never know who's listening. So continue to be a light to the world and continue to be a voice like a lion. And I will talk to you guys Thursday.